Okay, so I laid in a piece of silver behind it just to give it a test and see how this is going to come out. Then of course we come in with a pen and mark it, and we'll just mark the whole way around and see what happens. And since I like the perfect lines of a circle, we'll go ahead and make our line with the compass here. Just scratch it into the metal and come up with a nice half arc. Cut this piece with the shear, and then come in with the hand shear and do the final cut. Okay, coming in with the final shear, but before we do that, I went in and trimmed off all of these angles just to get the line between where my accurate line and the scrap fairly thin, so that when I do trim it, it isn't a fight. The metal just peels off fairly smoothly, and you can see it peeling back here nice and easy. If there were some big triangles on there, it wouldn't do that. So good to trim off as much metal as possible before you come in and make your final cut. And here's our final cut right here. And then we have one inside cut to do, and that's going to be a little more difficult, but I'm going to do the same thing and trim off the edges, the excess first. And you can see that the cut will happen a lot easier. Now, in order to go around this turn on the inside, it's going to be just a bit of a fight. But since it is silver, we can do it, because the stuff is so soft. Notice how I kind of tweaked the shears so that they would come in and make that cut. So now we'll just go ahead and clean it up a little bit and then put it on the domer and see what it looks like. All right, just moving along here, tapping this until all of the flatnesses have just a slight bit of roundness to them. And that should do the trick. Yeah, we get a nice little dome effect, so that the light reflects in a more rounded manner rather than a straight mirror sort of finish. Ooh, that's got something to it. I don't know. That looks great. I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and make a second piece and put it on the other side just to see what it looks like in the full balance position. Okay, in order to do that, I take this piece and bring it back to flat, because when something domes, it tends to shrink up the edges a little bit, and if I'm going to pull a line from this, I don't want those edges shrunk up, because then I'll end up with two different size pieces. And the joys of having scrap pieces of metal around. This particular piece went from a project I did a couple of weeks ago. So, and that scrap piece of metal just kind of was laying around. So here we go. I can cut a nice piece out of that. Okay, I've scribed the line. Now we pull the piece away and see what we have. Yeah, it looks good. Now we'll take it in the shear and cut it out. I like that. Notice that it's a pretty good sized piece, the size of a silver dollar. But I don't know, I like the color of it. So just for yucks, I went ahead and went in and domed this a little bit more and put the two pieces together to see what it would look like in a more three-dimensional form. You can kind of see it from here. Experimentational phase, of course, but that isn't looking bad. Now, of course, I want to close in that little opening in the bottom there, but other than that, I think we've got something that really has some body to it. I think this is going to really come out good.